Okay, so we got our new axle assembly on the stand here, ready to go. Got her nice and chained down. A couple little things that we had to transfer is just the shock mounts, the vent tube. These bushings right here, which are for the upper control arms, don't come with any, so we got some new ones of those that we're going to press in. And then we're going to throw this back up in the car. Okay, so when you press in these new ones, the original ones, they stuck out about a half an inch, and so that was measured from the lip to the body of the housing here, sticking out about a half an inch, and that was the same on both sides. So we're not going to press it in all the way. We're going to try and get right back to that half-inch mark, and that way our installation goes in nice and smooth. Okay, so they make a special tool for this. If you want to go buy that, that's totally cool. My special tool is a block of wood and a hammer. So we're just gonna, it does go in about 1/4 of an inch or so to get started. And we're just gonna pound her in. So block of wood seems to be going a little slow. I have a 1 11/16 socket. That seems to be pretty good also. Okay, we're on the other side now. We got this first side in. Actually redo my measurements. It's actually about 5/8 of an inch you want sticking out, at least on my application. But you should just measure yours to see where you were at, and that's where you should put yours in, rather than going off of my measurement. So. Okay, there's your new upper control arm bushings. Again, take measurements of what came out. Or if you're just like replacing these in general, just take measurements of where they were before. That way you can put them back to where they were. And then you're not going to fight your upper control arms when you put these in. So, okay, this sucker is ready to go back up in the car. Okay, so as we get this up into position, we're essentially going to go in the reverse order that we removed it. So like the very first thing we're going to hook up is our lower control arms. We have those where we can move them up into position with our spin jacks. And then of course our axle is still completely free. We'll just kind of slide it into position, get both of these started. And then once those are good and started, we'll get the upper control arms started, get those into position. And then once those control arms are in there, like she's in really good shape, you know, and then it's going to be, you know, shock absorbers and getting our brakes all back together and everything in driveline. So. So it's important to note as you're trying to line this up, your upper control arms, you want to be kind of going into position as well, because it kind of fights you a little bit. And the twist, like you kind of have to twist this a little bit to get her in position. Just a little bit of fighting, not too much. Okay, there's the second one. Okay, so now that both of our lower control arms or bolts are in, now we can focus on getting the uppers in. So I'm gonna just kind of go up on the axle a little bit. I'm also gonna go up on my spin jacks on the sides. That's gonna help put this into position as well. Okay, so now that we have all of our control arms, our uppers and our lowers all connected, I haven't tightened anything down yet, just to kind of like get everything into place first. And so before I sink down all these bolts, I want to try and lift this kind of up to simulate this vehicle sitting on the ground. So I'm going to use my spin jacks and just kind of lift this up, compress those coil springs a little bit, and then I'm going to tighten down all these bolts with the impact. Shocks are bolted down, so time to move on to the other stuff. Driveline vibration dampener installed. Okay, let's get these wheel speed sensors or ABS sensors on here. So these things, they were kind of a bugger to get out of the old axle housing, or I'm sorry, axle shaft. And so, I mean, they go in really nice. So what I typically like to do is put a little bit of anti-seize just here on the body. You don't want to get it on the magnetic point here. That's the magnetic pickup for the wheel speed sensor that rides on this tone wheel. Okay, Okay. The way that works is every time a new tooth comes around, it opens and closes the switch here and sends a a square waveform to the ABS module. That way it knows if one particular wheel is slipping or not. But anyway, so we're just going to put a little bit of anti-seize here on the body of this. We're also going to put a little bit of anti-seize on this bolt. Okay, now we can get our rear sway bar back into place right here. Okay, so I just kind of have this supported by my trans jack over here. I got the other side in and started, and now I can cinch these up. Okay, now it's time to get our drive shaft back in. So before I put these back in, I like to put some nice new transmission fluid on the shaft here before I spline it in there. That way it's not going to be any kind of damaging to our seal or anything like that. Okay, so on this end here, obviously we've marked the old unit, and that's good to do if you're reusing, if you're just pulling it out and putting it back in for whatever reason. But we've changed this, so like we don't have any marks anymore. So I'm just kind of going off of references off these these holes that are not used and the threaded bolts are not. I'm trying to, there's only one of two ways it can go on. So if I have any kind of like crazy weird vibrations or anything, then I will flip it the other way and see if that changes anything. But that's the best we can do without any kind of indication mark. So I like to put the drive shaft back where it was to eliminate any kind of possibilities of unwanted vibrations or whatnot. But I'm guessing we're probably going to be just fine. Okay, so don't forget to check the transmission fluid level. If you lost a little bit from having the drive shaft out, check plug for that is on the passenger side. It's going to be right there. It's actually marked on the casing on these, the fill plug, which is right there. And then don't forget to check your differential fluid too. This unit is supposed to come pre-filled, but of course we're gonna check that anyways and make sure she's filled up. Okay, we got everything back together on this thing, so last thing we're gonna be doing is getting our backing plate back on, getting our brake rotors and caliper and pads, and then we're gonna be test driving. Okay, wheels are back on, lug nuts are torqued, transmission's filled up, rear differential's filled up. I think this car is ready for a test drive.